It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3. Goeiemorgen, good morning. And as you get your kids ready for school, perhaps you are in the coastal regions of South Africa, I think you're going to love this story. It's going to inspire them too, because if there's one thing we can look back on after the pandemic, is the courage many first-time authors have shown in putting pen to paper and publishing books during tumultuous times, ultimately sharing themselves with the world and doing what they can to help make it a bit better. Now, one of those first-time authors is 14-year-old Aryan Naidu, son of Dr. Anushka Reddy from Johannesburg. During the hard lockdown, he was inspired to write about his life adventures titled, I Promise Not to Bore You. And it certainly lives up to the title as well. I took a couple of reads and through the pages, and it's an adventure not to be missed. And joining us via video call is the author himself, Aryan Naidu. Welcome to your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. I'm stoked to be here.
I'm stoked that you're here as well. Now, you know, the guys earlier were talking about 14 years old, what they were doing. Some of them said they were climbing trees. People were saying that they were busy trying to, find themselves, but you were busy writing a book. Now, I promise not to bore you. It's a collection of short stories. You've gotten raving reviews from everybody who's really sort of lent their eyes to the book as well. Influential voices in our country have said, hey, including Carolyn Stain, the founder of 67 Blankets, calling your book thought-provoking and lovingly written. Those are massive praises for a 14-year-old to receive. Now, I think for anybody who's been under a rock, what is I Promise Not to Bore You all about?
So, I Promise Not to Bore You is a compilation of 10 fictional and non-fictional short stories that are based on my personal life experiences and stories I made up using my crazy imagination. It's a great tool.
Crazy imagination is what we have, and we have to use it. I mean, I've got one of those. I haven't written a book yet, but I think this is good inspiration for me. Now, you've really tried your hand at many different genres within the book as well. You've got a bit of comedy in there, you've got some tragedy, you've got thriller. How did you go about, from writing for pleasure into actually getting a book published?
Yeah, so during lockdown, a word I think we all are a bit too familiar with, I had all this extra time on my hands, also considering I was doing online schooling. So I was just writing for the fun of it and for the love of it, actually. And my parents read a few of my stories and were quite impressed and just encouraged me to keep on writing. Then after a while, 2 stories turned to 5 stories and 5 stories to 10 stories. And here I am today.
Here you are today. I hope that you are proud of yourself. I hope that you better be, because I think that a lot of people will say pat you on the back, but I think the most important person to back yourself is you, and you need to continue this because this is the fuel we need for many more books to come. Now, I think that if you want to go deeper into the book, a lot of people are wondering what these stories are about. They want a little taster into your imagination. So give us a synopsis about one of the stories in your book so we can get a little idea as to what you're writing about.
Okay, so that's it's a difficult question. I can already feel the pressure, but I will have to say Highway Sheila. So Highway Sheila, I think a lot of people from Durban should be familiar with the story. It's an urban Indian Durban legend. Okay, so my dad told me to say that whole tongue twister. And so Highway Sheila is... my dad told me the story when I was younger and it scared me. So I thought, why not just write about it? And I think it'll definitely make people think twice before picking up hitchhikers late at night.
I mean, I feel the fear. I feel that's where the thriller part comes in your book.
I also feel the fear, and I wrote it, so.
Yes, that's the cool thing. You wrote it. A 14-year-old wrote the thing, and I'm just saying, I cannot wait to tuck into that little short story. You've also had the privilege of traveling around the world a little bit and witnessing much of South Africa's beautiful wildlife. So how does that help you as a writer? I know experience is so important when it comes to putting pen to paper. So what experiences in life so far have helped you become better at this craft of being an author?
So I've had the fortune of traveling to many exotic places, and as well as spending a lot of time in the South African bush, which has inspired the story Wild Relief, which is an African adventure. And then there is Amazonic, which is based on my travels to South America, and it really showcases like the Amazon rainforest and its animals. It's one of my favorites.
And the best way to write is from experience. And the only way you're going to get experience is to get out there. So your book is currently available on Amazon, not in SA bookstores just yet. When can we expect it to land in our stores so we can go and grab it?
So I'm very excited to announce that these books will be hitting these stores at the end of Feb. But until then, you can get a copy on Amazon. It's kidding. It's free.
Oh, that is.
Wait,
so
no, it's
cool.
not free.
No, it shouldn't be free. Hey, let's make some cash here, man. There are still school fees to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's such a great thing to see, a world through a 14-year-old's eyes, to understand your imagination and to understand how you see the world. I think we need a bit of that in our lives too. So this is not a traditional children's book. I feel like it goes so far beyond that. And, keep your eyes peeled for the release of I Promise Not to Bore You, as mentioned by Aryan, just at the end of Feb. And it does live up to its name. Aryan, thank you so much for joining us, for inspiring us. And at 14, I can only imagine that many more books to come from your side. And I cannot wait to read all of them.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me. And to everyone at home, morning. I'm going to go to bed after this.
Go to bed, my brother. You need this. Don't worry, but don't sleep on your dreams. That's the most important thing.
No,
Live them out and just continue being an incredible author. I promise not to bore you. A promise that we make is a feel-good breakfast show, as well as Aryan Naidu, a 14-year-old author. And the thing is, if that inspired you today, no matter what you want to do, I feel like you need to go out today and go do it.